I've crafted a team of 10 of the most revolting, horrifying, disgusting Pokemon you'll ever see, and I'm training them up to be the very best. I'm taking them through an 8-week... From the moment she woke up, Ogerpon was beset by a deep-seated feeling of dread. She had slept fitfully, haunted, as always, by dreams of the past. Training Gauntlet against a wide range of different team styles, and at the end, I'm going to enter them into a tournament and try to win. This is week 5, and today we're going as a soft spring breeze rolled across the grassy terrain, and as the soft sunlight of early dawn sparkled in the dewdrops, Ogerpon let herself relax. Then she remembered the night before against munkidori. Munkidori is a fast, poison-type attacker, which is bad for my team, because my team is a grassy terrain team full of grass types and fairy types that munkidori beats. Also, as the right... Sit this one out, Ogerpon. Talonflame counters you. You'll only be dead weight. No. Please, I want to fight. No, Ogerpon. Your job is to keep Go-Go company on the bench, and we'll be back before you know it. Now, munkidori is a night monkey. Night monkeys are interesting because they're the only monkeys that are truly nocturnal. They live in South America, and they do all of their activity at night. So they have these crazy eyes. You can look at that monkey's eyes, and they're really big. They're monochromatic. They can't see color because they don't need to, because it's too dark for color vision to matter. So he's like a monkey, but really devious and cruel. And what we're going to do today is try to defeat him using a team of ugly, grassy Pokemon. This one's going to be quicker than usual because there was foul play during the battle, which twisted a lot of what happened. All I can say at this point is, if you see a night monkey in your future, don't trust it. Don't believe anything it tells you. Night monkeys are dangerous scoundrels, and they ruin lives. So, my opponent's first Pokemon is Iron Valiant. Now, Iron Valiant is a 19-point Pokemon, which puts it in the highest bracket of points. It's the most expensive thing you can buy, and it's no surprise. It has amazing stats. It's got every coverage move in the game that it could ever want. It has a decent typing. It can run booster energy to go crazy. It's just got this amazing mix of offensive power and extreme versatility. Next, my opponent drafted Scizor. Scizor looks wonderful on the type chart, of course, because Bug Steel is really good. Only weak to fire and resists a whole bunch of things. Scizor is a good pivot. It's strong enough. It hits pretty hard. It can bullet punch my fairies and kill them very easily. The heart of the team, Munkidori, a villain, a criminal, and most horrible of all, a poison type. And I can't handle poison types. Poison types are my bane. And this guy's my bane. Look at him. He's going to poison me to death. Next we have Talonflame. Talonflame has the privilege of having 2 types which both beat grass. So hypothetically, if someone had, say, a grassy terrain team, they could be in trouble fighting a Talonflame. And at this point, my opponent has 4 Pokemon drafted and no shared weaknesses, which is impressive, right? They've got a really diverse set of resistances. They have a few uncovered weaknesses, so Water and Electric for Talonflame, Ghost for Munkidori, Flying for Valiant. But purely in a vacuum, just looking at typing, I mean, they're doing a good job with their selection. Next is Crawdaunt, obviously infamous breaker, Mr. Craw himself. Choice Band adaptability is bonkers. It does give them their first double weaknesses to Fairy and Electric, so I'm keeping an eye on those types. Next up is Bramblegast, which can do a lot of things. Bramblegast is a really fun Pokemon. I used it on my team in Scarlet and Violet. Windride is a cool ability, makes it immune to moves like Hurricane and Blizzard and Icy Wind, and boosts it in Tailwind. I mean, it's great in VGC, and it's pretty good in singles too. Hurricane immunity is really nice, because for some reason Hurricane is the only good special flying type move, so all the birds have to run it, even though it kind of sucks. Rounding out their team, we have Malouetta. I had to investigate how the transformation worked, because it's very confusing. You use Relic Song, the move, which is a good move, but it's kind of annoying on Malouetta because you have to use Relic Song to turn into your physical form, which is kind of annoying. I think if you could start in the physical form, the fighting type form, Malouetta would be good, but because you have to waste a turn transforming into it, and down your EVs are weird because you have to use a special move and then you turn physical, It's a bit unreliable, but it is really interesting. It's a fun team-building conundrum that it poses. Next is Jolteon. It's their first flying resistance, but it is really frail, so it's not a great flying resistance. You can see from a weakness perspective, they're being very, very conservative. They don't have any major holes. Dark is my best avenue for hitting super effectively, but Iron Valiant quadruple resists it, and Iron Valiant is definitely coming. Next up is Piloswine. Looking good, no more triple weaknesses. It's not that strong because it's a middle stage, but it's pretty bulky with a Violite, and it clicks Stealth Rocks. And if you can click Stealth Rocks, you're probably usable in some capacity. Speaking of, Flygon can click Stealth Rocks. Flygon's also a pretty good Choice Scarf pivot. It's got fast U-turn, it's got a lot of coverage, so your opponent might struggle to predict what you're going to do. Maybe you're going to Specs Boom Burst them. I mean, it's not that strong, 80 base special attack, but it's okay. Maybe you're going to Earthquake. Maybe you're going to click anything else. Flygon has a lot of coverage. Second only to Iron Valiant on this team. So overall, now one thing that really impresses me about this team is if you look at the types they have assembled 17 of the 18 types. The only type their team is missing is Rock. If they swapped Piloswine for Avalokisui or Aurorus, they would have every single type. Now, does that matter? Almost certainly not. Ice Rock is terrible, Ice Ground is better, so it would make their team worse, but imagine the satisfaction of having every single type on your team. Wouldn't that be good? But my opponent hasn't done that. But they have come close. 17 out of 18 is very respectable, and I do appreciate the effort. Overall, their team is interesting. It's got a lot of these kind of mid-range Pokemon. These are like UU, IU Pokemon that are good in those tiers. They're not like terrible, but they're not really OU by usage. I mean, Scizor I think is UU right now, but it's done its time in OU. Talonflame, kind of the same story. Everything else I think is solidly UU and below, with the obvious exception of Valiant, who is really, really good in OU. So this is kind of like Iron Valiant and Friends. The thing is, the Friends are really bad for me. Scizor, Munkidori, Talonflame crush grass types. They all crush grass types. My team's full of grass types. Scizor crushes fairies as well. Munkidori crushes fairies as well. Talonflame crushes fairies as well. Turns out that grass and fairy have a lot of overlapping problems, and that's not good for me. So I'm expecting those four definitely to come to the battle. I don't know who the last two will be. The opponent has a few options, but those first four Pokemon in their draft, definitely coming. 95% plus coming. Massive threats. Let's have a look at speed, because this is the other interesting thing about this matchup compared to my previous weeks. The lower number represents the speed stat they have if you just boot them into Showdown. Like it's like their starting speed stat, level 100, 31 IVs, no EVs, neutral nature. The higher stat is their plus speed nature max investment stat. So their jolly 252 speed, that's how fast they can get. And then the trailing dots are their minus speed potential. Doesn't come into play much unless you want to do Trick Room, which I kind of want to do this time, because their team is much faster than mine in general. But we'll look at Piloswine first. It's very slow. It's got 2 less base speed than Ursaluna, which is good for me, because I would like to hit them with a Blood Moon before they can hit me with a Stab Ice-type move. But I don't think Piloswine's really coming to the battle. As I get into the EV min-maxing, I will consider Piloswine for Ursaluna in particular. Crawdaunt, also very slow, slightly faster than Ursaluna, and I'm expecting them to invest at least somewhat into speed, so that my Ursaluna can't outspeed it, because if it outspeeds it can just Crab Hammer me and bonk, down goes Ursaluna. I don't think I really want to play the speed creep war against Crawdaunt, because I'd rather wall it with something else, and then just vacuum wave it if I need to finish it off. Scizor's next. Slower than my Terra Captains is good, but Scizor doesn't mind being slow because it likes to be a slow pivot. And then we have half of my team in this block, this kind of mid-range 250 to 300 block of speed, and then we start to see the problems. Bramblegast at 300 is a bit annoying because it outspeeds Rillaboom and can hit me with a Poltergeist. However, I don't think it's staying on Rillaboom because I can hit it with a Choice Band knockoff for a one-shot. Same with Mandibuzz, like, it's not going to stay in. Outspeeding Lantern is annoying, but I was never going to win that speed war. Next up is Meloetta before it transforms. It's got the coverage to hit Mandibuzz and Lantern, so it's a bit of a problem. It can Grass Knot Ursaluna for big damage, which is scary. And then Flygon. And Flygon isn't that impressive, slower than Comfey, but it really likes Choice Scarf. I think that there's a really good chance that if Flygon comes to the battle, it will have a Choice Scarf. in which case it'll hit for 60 something speed, which is more than enough to outspeed all of my Pokemon except for Unburdened Sneasler. Thing is, it dies to Draining Kiss. If I want to bring Comfrey, that's good. And it also can't really deal with Hatterene. Scarf U-turns probably coming. Next is munkidori, 342. Glad I outspeed this with Ogerpon, but I kind of don't think it's enough, because munkidori one-shots Ogerpon with Sludge Wave, one-shots Comfrey with Sludge Wave, one-shots Sneasler with Psyshock, one-shots Rillaboom with Sludge Wave, one-shots Ursaluna with Grass Knot. It's a massive problem for my team. Now, Ogerpon being able to outspeed it and hit it with knockoff is good, but it kind of also wants a Choice Scarf. It doesn't lose that much from taking a Choice Scarf, and in exchange it outspeeds Ogerpon and kills it, outspeeds Sneasler and kills it. So yeah, I'm mostly worried about them just putting Scarf on everything, because I think they can kind of do that for free. Poison moves are so easy to click against my team that, oh no, I'm locked into Sludge Wave, I'll just click it 6 turns in a row and win, right? It's not that big of a downside. Next was Iron Valiant. It is meaningful that it's a little slower than Sneasler, because they're going to get the booster energy boost, but I can get a Choice Scarf boost, and my Choice Scarf Sneasler will be slightly faster, and I massively outspeed with Unburden. But it being faster than everything else is still really bad. And then we hit the real problem. Talonflame, Transform Meloetta, and Jolteon all outspeed my whole team, and they're all kind of problems. Talonflame has Gale Wing, so it can use priority anyway, but what do I do against Talonflame? It's just Lantern. Lantern is what I do against Talonflame. Lantern doesn't have the physical bolt to take a ton of Brave Birds, and it can't heal, so eventually it will die to Brave Bird. And then Jolteon. What do I do against Jolteon? Well, Volt Absorb, Lantern. But Lantern's looking really overcommitted here. Lantern has to do everything, because Sneasler dies to Talonflame, Ogerpon dies to Talonflame, Sneasler dies to Jolteon. Ogerpon kind of beats Jolteon, but Jolteon is faster. Jolteon can Tera Ice to beat Rillaboom and Gogoat and Ursaluna. I don't know, they're much faster than me. But flip that on its head, I'm much slower than them. If I get Trick Room up and get Ursaluna in, so Hatterene clicks Trick Room, clicks a move, dies, I get 3 turns where they can't stop me. None of these things are slow enough to deal with Ursaluna, and they don't have that much priority. They've got Gale Wings, Talonflame, but that's unreliable because you have to be on full health. They've got Bullet Punch, Scizor, and Aqua Jet. Crawdaunt. Crawdaunt is the biggest problem. Bullet Punch does a bit to Ursaluna. Aqua Jet does quite a lot, but I still win those matchups. I can take an Aqua Jet and kill with Blood Moon. I think that Trick Room looks kind of amazing. Now, of course, Trick Room has its problems. In singles, it's just not generally that good. But when we get to the team building phase, I'm going to talk a lot more about it. That's it for now. I'll see you next time when I discuss the matchups and the lead interactions and this kind. The camp was vacant. The battle party already departed. Ogerpon had been left behind. A bitter feeling gripped Ogerpon, like a fist clenched tight around her heart. Betrayal. The ethical Rattatas were supposed to be her friends. They were supposed to understand how important it was that she be the one to take that vile munkidori down. But they'd left her. Just like everybody else. So the next thing to look at is the matchups. I haven't done a full breakdown of every Pokemon in this video because I'm testing a slightly shorter format. Let me know if you like it. If you like the detailed analysis and the going through moves step by step, then let me know. If you prefer this, where we just kind of briefly go over the team and then briefly go over the matchups, I say brief, it might still be half an hour, but briefer than my prior videos. Let me know that in the comments. I am very happy to adapt my content to my beloved audience of Spectres and Poltergeists. Sneasler. What does Sneasler do? Overall, here are the scores. You can see that my best Pokemon are Ursaluna, Rillaboom, and Ogerpon. Rillaboom and Ogerpon are cleaning up in the scores because they beat all of my opponents' lower tier Pokemon. I think that Lantern with 5 is actually maybe my best Pokemon because it beats 2 out of the 3 Musketeers and Iron Valiant. Munkidori looks incredibly threatening, Talonflame and Scizor look incredibly threatening, and Crawdaunt actually looks really scary too. Crawdaunt has harder counters on my team, what's it going to do against Draining Kiss? Nothing. But it does look pretty good. Looks pretty good. So that's the matchups. That's the general picture. What I'll do next is talk about a few tactics, my lead plans, my battle plans, and then I'll go into each Pokemon individually, and then we'll get to the battle. I've been recording this with my mic turned off. There's been so much that's happened. I talked about Pod, and I said how indecent I was being by leaving my bed unmade, but also I thought maybe you'd forgive me because Pod's there and I don't want to disturb Pod. And then a cockroach attacked me and I went, there's a cockroach. I didn't. I was very calm. But it's actually less embarrassing to pretend that I screamed rather than the truth, which was that I tried to make friends with it. I was like, oh, sweet little thing. Because I think that's actually more deranged than the normal reaction, which is fear. And then I was going on a whole spiel about how there's lots of cockroaches in my room, but I am too soft-hearted to murder them, except for the one that I crushed with a mallet last week. But to be fair, I think that cockroach was sick, and if it wasn't sick, then it was definitely sick by the time I was done with it, because it didn't exist. It was a smear on my deck. And Pod witnessed, and I think he thinks I'm a psychopath, but I was doing a good thing, because I think the cockroach was probably parasitized by something and was suffering immensely. So it's the night before the battle, and I figure that I should try, at least in theory, to record a few things before the battle starts, so that each week isn't just a retrospective, right? Like, we want Past Henry to have some impact on the battle. I've got to prove that I'm not just kind of like doing a battle and then making up a story, right? So the battle hasn't happened yet. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm trying to figure out my lead, and I'm really conflicted because my mind is telling me one thing and my heart is telling me another. They're both in unison that I don't really want to lead Rillaboom, because I think their best lead is probably Sizzle or munkidori, and Rillaboom hard loses to both of those guys. I could use Ursaluna. I mean, leading Ursaluna worked amazingly for me last week, but I don't really like it against Sizzle. Sizzle can just close combat it and do way too much damage, and I want my Ursaluna, but I want it in better matchups than this one. So naturally, my next thought would be Ogerpon, right? Where's Ogerpon in all this? Mr. Monkey, sir, the enemy are approaching. Good, good. They'll walk into our trap like the weasels they are. Sir, if I may? Shut up, you disgusting freak. Who gave you permission to speak? Sir, it's just there was no sign of Ogerpon anywhere. Ha! She's scared. Once a coward, always a coward. Ogerpon, you can't hide from me. We can bring Sneasler, which looks really good, and it's probably my best lead, objectively. It can beat Sizzle with Fire Punch. I definitely want Fire Punch. It beats Flame Body Talonflame, but it loses to Gale Wings Talonflame, unless I run Fake Out to break the Gale Wings. Then it beats Gale Wings, but I have to run Fake Out. It beats Jolteon. It beats munkidori with... I shouldn't say it beats munkidori. It loses to munkidori. Hang on. There we go. It loses to munkidori, but I think everything loses to munkidori. I don't know, like, it's faster than munkidori, so if I give it a choice scarf, it's faster than munkidori. But even with adamant max attack, it's only a roll, and it's like a 1 in 16 chance. It's like a 6.3% chance to kill munkidori with Throat Drop. Otherwise, Sneasler dies to a psychic move, because it's a psychic move. So I think if they lead munkidori, I have to just switch to Lantern. And the other option is leading Lantern. I mean, it looks kind of good. Beats Jolteon with Volt Absorb, it outspeeds Crawdon, it checks munkidori, it beats Talonflame, maybe I should actually lead Lantern now that I think about it. Let's change the slide, shall we? I don't think we're leading Rillaboom, so I'll be back with you in a moment. We're back. Here's Lantern's matchups, and you can see that what it does is beat munkidori, which nothing else does. It's also okay in Talonflame. I can make it... The thing is, it doesn't beat Crawdon, because knockoff just one-shots it. It can do a lot of damage to Crawdon if I outspeed it, but if I don't want to go like Timid Lantern. I don't think Timid Lantern's good, especially if I want to do my other strategy. I don't know. And then it still loses to Sizzle, right? The only thing I'm really beating Sizzle with is Fire Punch. Sneasler. Yeah, so those are the options. Then the last thing, as you'll see, is Hatterene. Now, what am I thinking with Hatterene? Trick Room. I haven't brought Trick Room yet, but this might be the time, because if I pull up the speed graph again, Trick Room looks nice because just as they're way faster than I am, I'm way slower than they are. So I can get these slow Woodhammers and these slow Blood Moons and slow Hatterene. I'm not sold on Trick Room in singles, on principle. The strategy would be Hatterene, click Trick Room, and then just go full offense. Click a psychic move, click a super effective move, whatever is best. Sack Hatter and let it die, and then bring in Ursaluna. Do as much damage as you can, and then that's it for your Trick Room. It's kind of a one-and-done thing, right? Like, we're not trying to always keep it up. We're just starting with it, bringing in Ursaluna, trying to tear some holes in their team, and then cleaning up the mess. I'm still working on the overall structure, but I think I want Hatterene and Ursaluna. And I think I want Rillaboom Sneasler. I want like the slow Trick Room pair and the fast Unburdened pair. And then my last two we'll see. Ogerpon. So at last, we make it to the part of the video where I talk about which team of 6 Pokemon I'm going to bring to the battle. Who is getting sidelined and who is going to become the next star. Gogoat and Volbeat are out because I think they're just bad. Rillaboom's kind of in. I think Rillaboom's in because I want to do Grassy Terrain Sneasler. My general game plan is I'm going to do a 2-pronged assault. One prong is Trick Room, and the other prong is Grassy Terrain. Start with Trick Room to punch holes in their team, let it run out because it doesn't last very long, and then we go fast with Sneasler and clean up. That's the game plan. I don't know if it's good, but it's interesting and it's fun and it's tactical, so I'm looking forward to trying it. That's 4 Pokemon. Who are the remaining 2? Well, I don't really want 2 fairies. Comfey is kind of nice against Iron Valiant with that priority Draining Kiss, but I've already got Rillaboom's Grassy Glide for good priority, so I'm dropping Comfey. And finally, I'm dropping Ogerpon. Ogerpon sat down with a sigh. The other benchwarmers were playing cards, but she wanted to be alone. No, she wanted to fight. Hey, OH, you sure you don't want to play Uno with us? Volbeat's taking a break, so we might actually have a shot at winning. Leave me alone, Comfey. I'm really not in the mood right now. You know, I actually had another idea. Maybe we could take a stroll? Maybe in the direction of the battle? Certainly not to participate, mind you. Ogerpon could hardly be faulted if she coincidentally happened to ram her cudgel through Munkidori's eyes, could she? But Comfey, are you sure that Volbeat won't rat us out if we sneak off? I trust him. He's more sick of being stuck on the bench than any of us. Think I'll take you up on that stroll then. Ogerpon rolled to her feet and set off, with grim determination, towards the battlefield. The problem with Ogerpon is it gets hard-walled by Talonflame. If I bring Ogerpon in, it just lets Talonflame come in every single time. Talonflame can defog away the spikes I put up, Talonflame can U-turn out with priority. It puts me in a position where whenever I have Ogerpon in, my best move is basically click U-turn to try to regain momentum, even against Sizzle, right? If I click Ivy Cudgel, it doesn't matter, Talonflame comes in. So I click spikes, who cares, Talonflame comes in and defogs, right? Doesn't do anything. And U-turn does like 3% to Talonflame. I'm immune to the burn from Flame Body, but who cares, Talonflame could switch into U-turn forever with Roost, and Talonflame just ruins its day. I think Talonflame ruins its day so much that there's not much point. Considering I'm already bringing Rillaboom and they overlap so much, Rillaboom at least can use knockoff on Talonflame, and if I can knock them off, then that is good. I don't have a Stealth Rock setter, so maybe knocking them off isn't that important because it'll probably be Boots, but maybe it won't be Boots because I don't have a Stealth Rock setter. Yeah, so I just think Ogerpon is not that good. It does one-shot Sizzle. That is a good feature of Ogerpon, that Fire-type Ivy Cudgel. But I can give Sneasler Fire Punch, and that also one-shots Sizzler. Although Ogerpon has some nice qualities, I don't think I need it here. So, the Pokemon who are going to the bench are Ogerpon, Comfey, Gogoat, and Volbeat. And here is the team that will be accompanying me to the battle today. Here they are in their grassy field. They are a good set of guys. Sneasler. Mustela Sapiens. You know him, you love him, he loves you. He carries you around in a bag on his back as you prowl the streets of Hisui. So offensively, it's okay. The upside is you can one-shot Iron Valiant with Dire Claw. The downside is Munkidori. Munkidori resists both of your stabs. It 4 times resists close combat, so it can actually switch in, and it's immune to the poison status condition. So even though it's squishy, it can kind of switch in on Sneasler and just ruin Sneasler's life and do 700% of Sneasler's health with a psychic move. So I don't like that. For coverage, well, the coverage is okay. It's kind of just enough. Fire Punch is amazing here. Hitting Bramblegast is great. Hitting Scizor is sublime. And then Dark's also really good. Meloetta and Munkidori are important kills, and of the remaining Pokemon, Jolteon and Flygon just died across combat. And Talonflame is the biggest problem, but I can probably hit it with a Dire Claw or Poison Touch and U-turn out. My final set I went with was this. Now, I was considering Swords Dance a lot, because most of the enemy's team are in this range where it's either like 80 to 90% of their health that I'm doing, or it's a roll, but not in my favor to kill. With a Swords Dance, I one-shot everything. Nothing can stand up. The problem with Swords Dance, though, is when can I ever click Swords Dance? All of their Pokemon have a way to ruin my life, right? Like, I can beat munkidori because I outspeed it and kill it with Throat Chop, but I can't Swords Dance on it, I die. I could run a Focus Sash, but then I'm really relying on them not chipping me at any point until I want to sweep, and also they've got priority moves, so I'll just die. So I don't think that's any good. And there's just really no one on their team who I can Swords Dance on freely. I just die to everything. I died to Poltergeist from Preamble. I died to Earthquake from Flygon. It's bad. So I said, I don't need it. All of my moves do like 80% of my opponent's health. If I can just chip my opponent for 20% of each of their healths, I win with Sneasler. So it's definitely a cleaner upper. It can't sweep on its own. I can't like lead it and then get 6 kills and win. I don't have the setup move. But if I can weaken their team enough, I use this at the end, and it just cleans everything up. Now my EVs are weird. 80 speed in Sneasler is enough to outspeed Scarf Jolteon by 1 point after an Unburden boost. So Scarf Jolteon is kind of the fastest thing I think they can reasonably do, because Jolteon is their fastest Pokemon. The 1.5 times boost is the best boost they're going to get. Iron Valiant could Agility, I guess, and outspeed it, but I outspeed Booster Energy, I outspeed Choice Scarf on everything. The other thing, though, that having 80 speed does, is I underspeed a few guys without activating Grassy Seed. So coming to the speed chart here, you can see we have this group of 3 Pokemon, so Flygon, Meloetta, and Bramblegast, that hit just over 300 base speed. And so you might think, well, surely I should have gone like 310 speed on Sneasler so that I outspeed these guys, and outspeed these guys if they're jolly, and that benefits me. Thing is, I'm going to be Trick Rooming early game, so I figure there might be a world in which before I've like got through Trick Room and made it to the grassy terrain phase, I actually want Sneasler to be slower to catch them by surprise, because they'll think, Sneasler's so fast, I'll definitely be slower than it with Meloetta, so I'll come in and then I outspeed because of Trick Room, but I will underspeed their Meloetta. My Sneasler hits like 296 base stat for speed, which underspeeds all these Pokemon at Jolly. If they go Adamant or Modest, then Sneasler outspeeds, but I need this much speed to guarantee that I'm faster than everything after Unburden. So, it's weird, and I've thought way too much about it, but we'll see in the battle whether it pays off or not. Next, some calcs. So we have Fire Punch versus Sizzle, Clean Oko. Sizzle's 4 times weak to fire. That's amazing. We have Throat Chop versus munkidori. You can see it's 85 to 100. That means it's a 6.3 chance to KO, because only the very maximum roll, which is 1 in 16, will kill. Everything else will survive on red. So I have to chip it somehow before I can reliably kill it. I'm not going to try to send Sneasler against a full health munkidori and go for the 1 in 16 chance unless I'm really backed into a corner. Also, they could have like 12 special defense EVs, and then I would never kill, and my opponent is likely to do that. So I'm going to have to chip munkidori somehow. So these calcs, is down here, the defensive calcs, are to show why I've put my remaining EVs into defense. I wanted to get Bullet Punch under 50%. The only reason I can do it is because Grassy Seed gives a +1 defense boost, but I can do it. Sneasler's defense becomes halfway decent in grassy terrain if you invest in defense, and the only thing that really stops me once I get going with Unburden is these priority Pokemon. Also Gale Wings Talonflame, but I'll have to just try to disable Gale Wings before I go for this Unburden. Cleanup. Overall, Sneasler looks pretty good, but I'm going to have to be careful about how I play my turns, because there's going to be a lot of things on different timers and finesse required for this battle, I think. Next up, Ursaluna. You know the bear, you love the bear, and the bear, as always, is going to wreak utter destruction upon my foes. Also, side note, don't you think it's lazy that they decided to call Ursus Luna? So so Ursus is the genus that bears belong to. And then they just chose Luna as species name, so it's just Ursus Luna. Boring taxonomists, try to be a bit more creative, please, with your taxonomies. At least Mola Mola was funny. Ursus Luna is just, come on, try harder. Okay, so here's Ursus Luna's coverage, and it's the same story as always. We have not that much super effective coverage, because normal doesn't do that, but we have perfect neutral coverage, because we hit Bramblegast with Blood Moon. So I think Ursus Luna is just going to do its thing, click Blood Moon, nothing can stop it. Scizor resists it, but it still takes like 60% of its health, so nice resist, buddy. And okay, they can all outspeed me and like close combat me or crab hammer me, but not in Trick Room. In Trick Room, I think I just get like 2 kills for 1. Crawdaunt technically could underspeed me if they call my bluff and min speed their Crawdaunt, but then I outspeed it out of Trick Room. So once I can figure out how fast their Crawdaunt is, I'll know how I can kill it. But I'm going to have to get into the battle to see my prep come to life. Coverage is nice. Moonblast hits 3 of their Pokemon, which is pretty good. And Vacuum Wave is okay. Hitting Crawdaunt is good, because I can compete with it. I don't know if I need them, though. I think I can just Blood Moon. Like, okay, I one-shot Iron Valiant and Crawdaunt with Moonblast, but I already do that with Blood Moon. I can only use Blood Moon once every other turn, but it probably isn't worth a move slot, I think. Here's my moveset. It's Blood Moon, Earth Power, Vacuum Wave, and Moonlight. I was looking at the calcs, and I needed to be able to one-shot munkidori. And you can't do that with just modest max attack, you need something to boost your power. I didn't really need Life Orb, though. Life Orb was like a bit too much, you know, and I don't like the downside of Life Orb. So Silk Scarf, and it gets me the calcs I need, and there's no downside to running it except opportunity cost. Hooray. Not so bad. And then EVs are pretty simple, it's just special attack and HP. Here's our funny Blood Moon calcs. One-shot Munkidori, one-shot Bramblegast, even though it's a ghost type. The only things that we don't one-shot are Piloswine with a Violite, and Scizor because it resists. But I do so much damage to them anyway, and I can just kill them on the next turn with an Earth Power. So I think Ursus Luna Blood Moon is crazy as always. Now, it needs Trick Room in this matchup more than usual, because it's not as easy for it to like come in and just get a free turn, force them out. It's usually going to get hit by something back. And so Trick Room is perfect. You can see the Choice Band calc. This is like the opposite of my Sneasel versus Munkidori calc. I am the one who only dies 1 in 16 times, which is good. And then you can see Aquajet. It's not killing from Crawdaunt, but it's doing more than half my health. So Crawdaunt is a problem, but then I also do half of its health with Vacuum Wave and one-shot it with Blood Moon, so it's going to come down to speed. Next, Lantern, Liphius, Absorbata. Coverage-wise, well, it destroys Talonflame, which I like, because Talonflame destroys a lot of my other Pokemon. It doesn't like Bramblegast. Bramblegast is pretty annoying, but it's pretty mundane overall. Like, if you took me out on the street and you showed me the offensive profiles of like 10 passers-by, this would be something like what I would expect the average passerby's offensive profile to look like. You know, like Jack Smith on the street. I'd be like, hey Jack, what's your offensive profile? And he'd say, sorry mate, I got places to be. And I'd be like, okay, that's fine. And then I'd be like, 3 hours later, I'd have a little stall, people would be coming down the escalator, and I'd be like, hey, like, can you tell me your offensive profile? And they'll say, oh, I can tell you something offensive, all right. You, my friend, are a vile little weasel. And I'll say, whew, that guy's got poison type stab. I digress. So for coverage, I definitely want Ice Beam or Dazzling Gleam. They both hit Flygon, which is good, because Flygon kind of likes to switch in on my lightning type moves. Ice Beam hits Bramblegast, and Dazzling Gleam hits Iron Valiant. I think Bramblegast is more important because Otherwise, I can't hurt it, really. Ice Beam also 4 times hits Flygon, which is significantly better than 2 times. I went with this moveset. Pretty standard, Scald Discharge, not running Thunderbolt because I like the 30% paralysis rate, and I'm not doing that much damage. Anyway, Discharge still 2 KOs Crawdaunt, so I don't need the extra power. Ice Beam and then Flip Turn for pivoting. Obviously, Flip Turn over Volt Switch because they've got a ground type and they've got Volt Absorb Jolteon, so they can block Volt Switch, but they can't block Flip Turn. EVs are pretty straightforward. I want to do as much damage as I can off the Lantern's mediocre special attack stat, and I want physical bulk this time around. I've been doing special bulk in the past, but here I want to be able to survive Scizor bullet punches and Flygon U-turns, and I want to not get one-shotted by Crawdaunt's knockoff, because if they're running banned Crawdaunt, I want to be able to switch in with Water Absorb and absorb his water, and then they'll be trapped because they are locked into a water type move. But if I mispredict and they click knockoff, I don't want that to be lights out for Lantern. I want Lantern to be able to survive and then come back and try again another day. So that's why the defensive is there. Still Assault Vest, mostly because it's just kind of free on Lantern. It just has barely any good utility moves, so you may as well run Assault Vest. Maybe one day it'll get Heal Bell back. If I had Heal Bell, I would think about running Leftovers or Rocky Helmet. But Assault Vest, I like it. And Tera Steel. Tera Steel is for munkidori mainly because it resists both of Munkidori's stab moves. It's weak to Focus Blast, but Focus Blast is bad accuracy, and I still survive a Focus Blast because of Assault Vest. I just think it's really important to have a poison immunity somewhere on my team. Calcs. Well, Ice Beam one-shots Flygon, great stuff. Scald does less than half of Scizor's health. The hope is that I get a burn sooner or later. Maybe not first try, but if I just Scald it and then I Flip Turn out, eventually I'll get the burn, and then Scizor will be kind of dead. Like, Scizor can't handle being burned. Burn just ruins its life. The cost of running Water Absorb is that I'm not running Volt Absorb. It was a slightly difficult decision to make, but it's okay. Even if they do hit me with a Choice Specs Thunderbolt, still does less than half my health. Not a big deal. I can just switch into Ursaluna on the next turn. Ursaluna might seem like a great Jolteon answer, but it's Terra Ice. So if he does Choice Specs Terra Ice, Terra Blast, Ursaluna is less happy. But in Trick Room, who cares? I just Blood Moon it. And then knock off from Crawdaunt, I survive it, but not happily. Can't take 2, lose my Assault Vest. As I say, I want to be able to survive it once, but I'm not really shored up against it. Thankfully, I take 0% from Crawdaunt's Crab Hammer. In fact, I heal from it. So what I want to know from you all, please, my trusted companions, is what is your opinion on a beret? Do you think a beret is a good hat? Is it a bad hat? Is it a medium hat? Do you feel that maybe you're not qualified to speak on the quality of berets? Are you afraid of what Big Beret might do to you if you speak out? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments. For my part, I like berets. I think they're a good hat. I would put them in the top 50% of all hats. And they've got a fun name to say. Berets, I support them. If you don't, we can still be friends, but watch your back. So Psychic type is pretty bad against their team offensively. It really only beats Iron Valiant. And Iron Valiant has been giving me a headache the whole time I'm making this video. Because I know it's not a Psychic type. I know it's Fighting Fairy. But whenever I'm making one of these type charts, I'm like, it has to be a Psychic type, right? Look at it. I'm like, Gallade and Gardevoir. It's not a Psychic type. It's weak to Psychic. It's weak to Psychic, Henry. But I can't get that into my head. I keep thinking it's Psychic Fairy and it resists Psychic, but no. It's weak to Psychic, it's weak to Hatterene. Thing is, it's also weak to Fairy. So there's kind of no point in bringing a Psychic move. Except that there is actually a point, because I want to be able to hit Munkidori and Talonflame neutrally and they resist Fairy. Especially Talonflame, because Talonflame also resists both Giga Drain and Mystical Fire, which means if I don't bring Psychic, I kind of can't hurt it. I could bring Dark Pulse. I was actually considering bringing Dark Pulse because Dark is pretty good against their team. But Dark Pulse is just, I don't think it's a good enough move. although Psychic looks bad, I kind of need it anyway to hit Talonflame and munkidori. But Fairy looks good. Fairy hits Crawdaunt and Flygon and heals a lot of them, and it ruins Iron Valiant's life, which is what I want, because Iron Valiant has a great life, and it's making my brain tremble. Pod, how you going? Oh, you're just repositioning. Pod's been on the bed all day. I don't know if you can see him from this angle. He's on the bed over there. He is... Today, brother, I swear I will avenge you. I'll string that ethical retarder up by his whiskers and make him beg for death.
Now here, my liege, just over the rise.
Good. I've been waiting all week for this monkey business. Would you do the honours, Iron Valiant?
But of course.
So here's my final set. There's no surprises if you've been watching this far. Draining Kiss, Psychic, Mystical Fire, and Trick Room. Now, the thing about Trick Room in singles is that I think it's basically bad if the Pokemon who's clicking Trick Room can't also use Trick Room itself. It's just too slow. So if I click Trick Room, there's 5 turns left, but clicking Trick Room uses a turn, so there's 4. If next turn I switch out, even if I Healing Wish to my Sweeper, I still only get 3 turns. And they can stall, if they have a recovery move, they have Protect. Whereas, if I just click Trick Room and then go on the offensive, I get 4 turns. And 4 turns is much, much more than 3. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it makes a massive difference. So, I'm going all in on special attack with this Hatterene, and the goal is not to click Trick Room and switch to Ursaluna. It's to click Trick Room, and then fire all guns blazing at whatever's in of my opponents, and then maybe I die, but then I bring in Ursaluna. And if I don't, I kill something. So I need Mystical Fire to hit Sizzle and Brambleghast. And then the rest of the time, I'm basically clicking Psychic or Draining Kiss, and if I die, great. If I live, also great. These stats are so funny to me. This special attack is insanely high, and then the speed stat is tiny, tiny, tiny. But it means I outspeed everything in Trick Room, because Hatterene is the slowest creature to ever grace this Earth. Draining Kiss one-shots Iron Valiant, which is good. It's not a strong move, Draining Kiss, but Hatterene has so much special attack stat, and Iron Valiant has such bad special defense that it does the job, and I heal back to full health, probably. And Mystical Fire easily one-shots Scizor. I don't think they can ever survive that. I think even with an Assault Vest, it's going to be a roll to kill. And I just don't think that's worth it. So Mystical Fire looks pretty good against Scizor. The problem is, look at this Choice Band Bullet Punch damage. 99% to my Hatterene, so I do live every time, but barely. And it doesn't matter if I put Trick Room up. This Bullet Punch has priority. So if you imagine a neutral scenario with their Scizor and my Hatterene, what I can't do is click Trick Room turn 1. Because if they Bullet Punch me, and I Trick Room, okay, sure, now I'm faster, but they'll just Bullet Punch me again. So if I'm in Hatterene and they're in Scizor, I think I just have to click Mystical Fire, and I either take the Bullet Punch and almost die and then kill the Scizor, or they U-turn out and then I Mystical Fire something on the switch. And then Munkidori is the other problem. Now Munkidori doesn't have priority moves, so Trick Room helps, but I can't one-shot it. Even Psychic isn't going to one-shot it, and it can one-shot me with Sludge Wave very effectively. So Hatterene alone is not enough to make Trick Room good. You can see it's got problems, but given that when I die I get Ursaluna in, who cares? And I only really want to do Trick Room once. My end game is still Unburdened Sneasler, which wants to be fast. So my goal is kind of this 1-2 punch of like heavy hitter exploders to just break holes in the team, and then Sneasler cleans up. That's the strategy in my brain. I don't know if it's going to work like that, but we'll see. Mandibuzz, the penultimate Pokemon. It's a vulture. It's a vulture of the Aegyptius genus, which I believe is the old world vultures. Vultures are interesting because there are actually 2 different, totally unrelated types of birds that we call vultures, colloquially. There's vultures in the Americas, and there's vultures in Europe and Asia and Africa. And each group looks very similar. They're both kind of carrion feeders. They eat rotting carcasses and stuff. And they look similar. They both have the trademark bald neck and head. But they're not related. They've converged upon the body plan. Fascinating example of convergent evolution. It just turns out that if you are sticking your head into rotting corpses all the time, you don't want feathers on your head. You need a smooth head because you'll get blood clotting and you'll get like viscera all over your face. And I guess that's disadvantageous. Now, that idea that I just said, that story about why vultures are bald, is just a story. I don't know if that's true. It could be. There's some other reason, other crazy evolutionary reason for the convergence that I don't understand. And it's actually really, really complicated to tease apart these evolutionary histories. But most of the popular media discussion about evolution, it just tells these stories. People just posit that they're probably true. Maybe we know about vultures. I don't personally know for sure the story about vultures. But word of warning, if someone says a story like that I just said to you, don't just believe them, because there's so much we don't know in evolution, and there's so many people who want to pretend that we know more than we really do. Mandibuzz has pretty good coverage. If Mandibuzz was an offensive Pokemon, I'd be very happy with it. It's actually really hard for them to resist it. Flying and Dark are two of the only types that they have more weaknesses to than resistances. It's kind of a shame that Mandibuzz is so bad offensively. If I had a Yveltal, I would probably just win because I have an Yveltal. But like, can you imagine how good Yveltal would be against their team? It would just ruin them. Everything on their team would be ruined. I guess they've got Jolteon, but like, I don't know, I can still click like Specs Dark Pulse, and Oblivion Wing's still going to heal me for a decent amount because... Anyway, I don't have an Yveltal, I've got a Vulture. It does get coverage, but its special attack stat is so bad it's not worth it. Sure, I can run Heatwave, but it only does like 60% to Scizor. And I have to use a moveslot on Heatwave, and Mandibuzz's moveslots are so precious, I don't think so. Now, of course, there is one move that lets you do big offensive damage even as a bulky Pokemon, and that's Foul Play. Foul Play is great against their team. Bad against Iron Valiant, but not too bad against Iron Valiant, even though it's quadruple resisted, because Iron Valiant has a high attack stat. Rest of the moveset is pretty straightforward. Roost, Toxic, U-Turn. I'm bringing Hatterene, and their hazard setters are kind of bad against my team. Brambleghast, Piloswine, and Flygon. They might not bring any of them. I think maybe Brambleghast is the best one, but it loses hard to Mandibuzz. And I have Hatterene that I can switch in. I'm not too worried about hazards, so I'm skipping Defog this week. I'm just bringing Roost, Toxic to hit guys on the switch. It's not the best because they have a Scizor and a munkidori who are immune to it, but it's fine. Roost and U-Turn just because they're good moves. And then we're doing Physical Bulk. So this guy is my Scizor check. Scizzor's such a problem. I'm committing Mandibuzz to beating Scizor. I don't have boots, so if they do manage to get Stealth Rock up, I'm kind of in trouble, but I'm just going to try not to let them. Foul Play does more than half of Scizzor's health, and if they Swords Dance, they get one-shotted by Foul Play. So, Mandibuzz is my Scizor insurance. Foul Play also just destroys Brambleghast. Brambleghast is obliterated. There's a smouldering crater where Brambleghast used to be because it was attacked by its own attack stat into its own weak defensive typing. Defensively, you can see the physical side is great. Talonflame's Flare Blitzers do nothing to me. I can just roost them off. That's a max attack Talonflame, doing 24 to 29%. Pitiful. Puny. You better switch out, Talonflame, because I'm just going to foul play you, and then your attack stat is doing more for me than you. Now, special side's not so good. Can survive a Moonblast from Iron Valiant, but not happily. Same with Jolteon. I survive a Thunderbolt, but not happily. Yeah. And then Crawdaunt can break through me. Even though I'm physically defensive, Crawdaunt is just so strong. With that adaptability Crab Hammer, it can even Terra Water. It's Terra Water Crawdaunt. It two-shots me. Easily two-shots me. I think it does about the same amount as Moonblast. But it's hitting my crazy physical defensive stats. Crawdaunt's impressive. Remarkable specimen. Have to beat it offensively, because defensively there's no way. It's the most classic of all the wall breakers, probably. And finally, Rillaboom, the gorilla. Gorilla is another genus, much like Molar, where there's a species who has the same species and genus name. So the common gorilla, the kind of gorilla you might see in a zoo, its Linnaean name is Gorilla Gorilla, which is funny. I like Gorilla Gorilla. If someone asks you, is gorilla the genus name or the species name of that big man-like creature who's sort of lazing around in that zoo exhibit, you can say simply, yes. Grass is pretty bad offensively against their team. The Three Musketeers that I coined earlier of Munkidori, Scizor, and Talonflame all resist it. In fact, Scizor and Talonflame quadruple resist it, so I'm doing next to no damage with that. The saving grace is that none of them resist knockoff. So I'm kind of just clicking knockoff a lot with Rillaboom. I'm setting up grassy terrain, and then I'm clicking knockoff and I'm clicking U-turn. Just making progress. I'm not going to be sweeping with it. They've got too many defensive checks. If I didn't have knockoff, it probably might have actually been worth bringing Ogerpon. The explosion tore down the hillside like an avalanche, tearing trees from the earth by their very roots. Rillaboom, connected to the soil with his grassy surge, took the blast head on and fainted in an instant. Mandibuzz, high in the sky, was struck by a cavalcade of debris and flung down against the earth. Her bones hit the ground with a percussive crack. The others clutched for each other, deafened and blinded and overcome by rage. Sneasler spat out a wad of dirt and cursed Munkidori's name. The enemy had played dirty. How dare they? But soon that enemy would be upon them, and Sneasler's terrain setter was down for the count. The grassy seed was suddenly so burdensome in Sneasler's hair. This one I felt was an easy week to predict. They had 4 Pokemon that were shoo-ins, they had Crawdaunt, which is basically a shoo-in. The only question was their 6th. I just felt like Flygon, Brambleghast, and Piloswine had so many bad matchups, and they didn't do enough. I didn't think any of them were coming, so I was just tossing up between Jolteon and Malouetta, and I decided Jolteon because of the Terra Ice thing. Same reason I decided Rotom for last week. Okay, you ready to see what my opponent brought? 3, 2, 1. What do you know? My predictions were basically correct. It was Malouetta over Jolteon, so I did get one wrong, but not bad, not bad. Certainly my best week for predictions. Amazing. 3 out of 4 left behind. 70... Hang on. There's something... Is something wrong? Isn't there something wrong with this picture? Do you see it? Where's Rillaboom? What? Why is Ogerpon here? Just as Sneasler began to think that all hope was lost, a familiar hand reached out, helping Sneasler to his feet. Ogerpon, how? You were meant to be on the bench this week. Well, my friend, it looks like there's been a change of plans. Here we go. We see their team. It's pretty much as expected. They have not brought Jolteon, Piloswine, Flygon, or Brambleghast. Wait, what? Why is Ogerpon here? No! Did I bring the wrong team? No! No, I brought the wrong team. Oh well, the show must go on. How did this happen? I'm a fool. I brought the wrong team, guys. I've got Solar Blade, Ogerpon, and Growth Comfey. Darn. This is really bad. Okay, well, we're doing this. I mean, we just have to switch to Lantern. I think it's pretty obvious. I could have Diaclawed because their U-turn was pretty obvious, but I can't believe this. I spent so much time preparing and then I picked the wrong team. Okay, folks, this is going to be a story of improvisation, I suppose. I can't believe this. Okay, here's Valiant. It's booster energy. Okay, interesting. Well, being Scarf Sneasel here is actually kind of good. Because... yeah, I think I can flip turn. Sub is understandable. Yeah. I'm a bit tilted, guys. Okay, I think we have to do it like this. I think we're sacking Comfey. Oh, Comfey lives. Scizor comes in here. So I could U-turn, but nah, we just Draining Kiss. I'd rather just be safe. They're making a lot of reads, which means I can pick my time to try to read them, but I'd rather lull them into a sense of security. I don't think U-turning here, if they do decide to stay in, is worth it. It would let me bring Ogerpon in on Scizor, but I can just do that next turn. I'll be a turn behind, and at a certain point I'm going to have to start making risky plays. But I don't think it's this turn. I think that Well, I don't know. My Draining Kiss is so obvious that their switch to Scizor is also really obvious. Okay. Or Monkey. Monkey also makes sense. This is where I would put my Mandibuzz if I had one, but I don't. I don't have a Mandibuzz. Okay, it's leftovers. Okay, we finally have a turn where we can click something. It's just going to be a Skull. Oh, do I want to flip turn on this and bring in Ursaluna? Maybe I do. Yeah, I do. Okay, so he's got Focus Blast, but he missed his Focus Blast. I have a Sneasler with Throat Chop. I have an Ogerpon with Ivy Cudgel. I have an Ursaluna. I have a... If he's bulky, which he could be, then that's not worth it. Maybe I just want to get Spikes up. I think it's Talonflame. That was bad because you can just Sludge Wave me, right? Maybe I'm faster. Okay, we knew Talonflame could come in for free. This is why I wasn't planning to bring Ogerpon, because I knew Talonflame could come in for free forever. Do I think he's going to Brave Bird? He might not even kill with Brave Bird. If he's... Oh no, wait. It's a minus attack. Talonflame. I think this is the turn when I try to make something happen with Spikes. I hope that he... Am I really just going to sack? Yeah, I am. Okay, he uses Roost. I get the Spikes. Now... So he's faster. He's faster. I go into my Lantern. I go into my Ursaluna on the defog. Yeah, let's do it. He's special. Okay. Well, that's fine. Because we're Assault Vest Ursaluna, which is fortunate. Okay, that is an Assault Vest Meloetta. That's weirdly bulky, isn't it? So it's AV Meloetta. It must be AV, right? Must be. It's way too little damage. Gosh, I'm still so tilted because I've got the wrong team. Oh my god. Let's have a look. Do I just go back into Ogerpon? Yeah, I think I do. Okay. So we can bring in Talonflame and defog the Spike. If he wants. U-turn, Roost, Hurricane, defog, I presume. In which case I just want to go back to Ursaluna. I don't have Moonlight! No! Oh well, just click Blood Moon again. Okay, Vacuum Wave surely kills, right? Oh, maybe not. Okay, 36. Hopefully doesn't kill. Okay. So, hang on, say this is Assault Vest. And... do 52 speed def. Vacuum Wave. Do 52 HP. Nice. Okay, that was a risk. I wasn't sure. I think it was a roll to kill, but I kind of had to try. Oh my god. We've got a kill. We're not losing 6-0. That's a good thing. I can't believe it. What an idiot I am. Bringing the wrong team. My Ogerpon has Solar Blade, which is totally worthless. Okay, this is sub Moonblast. It has special attack booster energy. I survive a Moonblast, right? Do I survive an Aura Sphere? No shot. Okay. We go Hatterene then. Good. Okay. And the Paralysis looks really good here with Nuzzle. Okay, that's Scizor. And the Mystical Fire looks really good here. Good job, Hatterene. What a legend. Okay. I mean, it's just Draining Kiss. It has to just be Draining Kiss. Okay, he gets the crit. I wish my Ogerpon had a water move. Wouldn't that be nice? Did the crab have? It was a roll to kill anyway. Maybe it didn't matter. What does Giga Drain do? Nice. That's fine. I don't think I need a Tatooine anymore. I kind of still need Comfey. But it had to be done. It had to be done. I'm Water Absorb? I'm Volt Absorb, right? Hang on. I'm Water Absorb. Okay, I could have just gone into Lantern for free. That was a mistake. Monkey. Could have gone to Lantern for free. Listen, learned. That was just a straight mistake, I think. I kind of want to sack Ursaluna here. At least my spikes are great. Ursaluna dies. Probably dies. Yeah, I think I can sack Ursaluna. I think it's done its job. Got a lot of pivoting moves. Valiant? It's going to be Valiant? I have to let something go, I think. But this is going as basically as well as I can hope. If he, oh no wait, he hasn't switched yet. I was like, oh, he's gone to munkidori. Nothing's even happened yet. Okay, now I'm sure he's EV'd to outspeed me. I think I just vacuum wave for the chip. Okay, cool. And then now we go Lantern. We discharge for free, right? Yeah. Cool. Wonderful. Okay, I don't want to throw this. So I'm just going to discharge. Nice. Good job, Lantern. Good job, Lantern. Okay, here's Valiant. Do I think Valiant can hurt me? Not really. I am going to click Scald. I am going to click Flip Turn. Bring in my Sneasler. Okay, now this is the problem. I think I might lose to Talonflame. Maybe? Diaclaw. Okay, he gets the Flame Body, but I dodge the Hurricane. We're fishing for Diaclaw. Oh my god. Does he have Covert Cloak? That would be legendary. Does he have Covert Cloak? He must do. Okay, I think I lose to this now. Okay, what the heck? What a messed up battle. Oh my god, Ivy Cudgel. Oh, Giga Drain. Oh god, I'm in pain. Ah. I mean, we won, but I felt like that whole battle, it was like eating nails. It was like scraping my eyes with the inside of a nail file. It was like using a cheese grater on my cheek and then licking it afterwards. Like, oh my god, I was not prepared. I mean, I wish I got to use my actual team, because my actual team had cool prep, and this one had Solar Blade on Ogerpon. But it worked out. I got quite lucky dodging hurricanes, critting the Ivy Cudgel. I think I kind of didn't probably deserve to win, but you take what you can get on these streets. Oh my god. I gotta go and, like, stare at a wall for a moment, because that was a lot. That was a lot to take in, trying to ad-lib all that. If you've watched like an hour and a half of video on a team that doesn't exist, sorry about that. It was a social experiment. It was kind of a prank, but I think I was the victim of the prank. But we win, so I suppose that's good. Goodbye.